Hello everyone, this is Prachit Mhalgi, roll number 17111032. In today's video, we are going to present a research paper, User Experience Design in the Web Applications. So before getting started, let me introduce you the topic. As we all know, the web applications are on the rise as many companies are actually shifting from having websites or desktop applications to providing their customers with various kinds of web applications. And this is mainly because of the two reasons that in case of websites, the websites actually provide a static content, and therefore the functionalities to be provided to the users are being limited. Whereas in web applications, it is also supportive towards the dynamic content, as well as there are wide range of functionalities which can be provided through the web applications, and that's why web applications are supplanting the websites. And in case of desktop applications, IT companies are too dependent on the user's machine, that is their hardware or software, to provide them with any kind of functionalities. And that's why the main aspect of web applications, that is the feature of being delivered through browser and its ease of use, it's something that has made this web application thing pretty famous in today's age. Whereas due to the centralized app support, we can actually migrate the entire system from one platform to another platform really easily. And with all these diversities and versatilities, there is a shift of focus on the user experience. There need to be the shift of focus to the user experience, as we are providing a large amount of functionalities to the users. So there are various methodologies to support these ideas, and we are going to discuss about these methodologies in brief here. So I guess the role of the UX design is actually more of an emotional experience rather than just interactive design, as psychology plays an important role in UX, mainly focusing on the short-term memory of users, so that it reduce the cognitive load on the user basically. So to give an example, there are flat designs which is actually used by the eBay to put forward everything in front of users, so that they can maximize their business profit. And other thing is the gamification, where users are assigned a task which they need to perform, and based on which the reward system works. So while this gamification thing, one need to take care about things that these challenges can be a bit too time consuming, which will leave users frustrated, and that's why it can act as a negative. It can be counted as a negative experience. So this needs to be taken care of. Then now let's see some of the user design methodologies. First of which is a card design. Basically, in this section, the content is actually being sectioned as rectangular or square boxes, which are actually capable of resizing, which will provide a simple design. And that's why the interaction and usability in this is actually in synchronized manner. So the second is a grid design, which is similar to car design only, but actually when there is a need to visualize a lot of images with various different sizes, different lengths, this design is mainly being used. As we can see, the screen is actually divided as a part of grid, and this is similar to flat design. Then there is a hamburger design, where actually company what it does is instead of bombarding all the options at a time to user, it gives him the option, so that whenever according to the need, user can press that button. When one can see in the line button, so that it will have all the options at his use. And then the last but not the least is the material design, which is mainly used by Google, and it is actually famous for its simplicity purposes. As we can see, the screen is actually considered as a different layers, where it is highlighted by the edges, different colors of the color of layers, and shadow effects to make it as real as possible. So these are the basic and popular methodologies being used for the UX design in case of web applications.
So, hello everyone, this is Kalpesh, and over here we'll be looking at the desirable factors for a good UX. So, web based interfaces or applications focus on retaining the users and engage them. Engagement metrics and analytics algorithms are used to measure page views, user visits, and most searched items, etc. So, there are several techniques involved in driving user behavior. So the following are the techniques like knowing the user's communication language used, consistency, short and succinct text content, good layout and ease of use, engaging images, visual content, including videos, pictures of real people, good storytelling, easy navigation, shifting mindsets, need for cognitive closure. So these are the techniques that drive the user behavior. So the apps can be used to change human behavior. It's been suggested that introducing tiny new habits into the everyday routine can influence the behavioral change and make a desired goal reachable. This is adapted by wearable devices, which works with living services. For example, measuring the number of steps taken by a user on an everyday basis, uh, the device persuades and changes the user behavior to aspire for a measurable goal and the gratification of achieving it by means of self improvement. The living services are prevalent in health applications and they are constantly evolving by using machine learning, user preferences, and environments to adopt and perform. So, persuading a user is inbuilt intentionally in the design in order to retain a user. User flows are given more importance in designing phase to enhance UX and perceiving the content. UX behavior can be divided into two categories. Basically, it's consciousness and subconscious experience. So it's been observed that conscious mind is like a supporting character that believes to be the lead actor and often has little idea about what's going on around it. Conscious experience may feel like the whole experience, but it is actually just a significant small part which makes people to share, like, comment, download, register, and to watch visual content. On the other hand, subconscious experience usually seems like it just is and drives a decision to trust, believe. To encourage the subconscious behavior, the design must feel trustworthy or obvious to the user. Use of emotions like UX design is a technique. Emotions are reaching and there are two categories, namely gain and loss. User feels good and bad, positive and negative, which is a gain and loss. So gains give positive feelings and loss results in negative feelings. Web designs designed to achieve users' goals by live feedback creates useful emotions subjected to time. As users always think of past and of the future, exploiting this aspect is the core of the living services that's inbuilt in the devices. A UX designed website will manage the user's emotions by delivering the contents which makes a user comfortable and trustworthy. Motivations are used to retain or the loyalty the user by the ability to incorporate changes in the application by narrowing the gap between digital and physical experience.
Hello, my name is Rahul Mistry. My roll number is 1711033. So now let's look at the framework for UX. So this section focuses on a UX framework on a web application delivering asset management via various devices for B2B purpose. The original application was a desktop and dependent on the environment and architecture. The support was provided for the application as well as the hardware in order to facilitate the user to perform crucial functions. Once the application was migrated to the web, the need for support was centralized as the services are rendered via web server. It gave the user much needed flexibility of using various devices via the web browser to streamline the services and not depend on their desktop to perform these operations. So the methodology adopted to test the UX web applications is a framework which tests the user behavior, the context of use, and the user satisfaction. So the main functionalities where the UX is focused is that the user should be able to access the content in languages as per the country and the region user is logged in. The landing page for various personas with accessible content. The asset information to be restricted to countries, cities or regions and post. The searchable options with user-friendly autocomplete or suggestions. Now in this diagram, you can see that the crucial features to be considered during the design phase. So firstly, we have the look and feel, then we have the UI pathways, we have the behavior, we have the business objectives, the information architecture, the content, and the user needs. So all of these is comprised as the user experience. Now, we can see that the display of information has to be classified or grouped together by easily identifiable icons related to the product which the user can easily identify with. For example, the building icons, the vehicles, paintings and furniture, etc. The display of individual items with visual photos, address, contact information of the person in charge, example the phone, email or social media contacts, with visible restrictions on purchase date, depreciation values over the years and current estimated prices, local currency transactions with preferred special currency exchange rate applied, and a visual graph representation of the growth or depreciation value of the asset with helpful tooltips. The visual plots of classified products are grouped together for a region, city or country and displayed on the consolidated value of the product over the years. The interactive content. So the user should be able to select from the various options to display the dynamic graph. Lastly, maintain the layout design in all the pages to be of a consistent one. So this table is basically a task list for users with the scaling scores. It comprises of 7 questions and with a scaling factor from 1 to 7. Where 7 indicates that it is the most useful and 1 indicates that it is least useful. So there are some questions like the landing page is clear and it gives me information. I like the color, layout of the scheme of the application. All the icons were clearly visible, etc. And so these questions can be used to grab the feedback from the users. And in the table 1.2, it shows that the UX for various tasks and the recorded results. So the participant 1 had marked as the success as yes, and the duration is basically the time taken to access the entire UI, which is 120 seconds. And he reported 1 error, and the assistance that he could get was 1, and the satisfaction levels were not satisfied. So as you can see that many of the users were not satisfied. In the table 1.5, it shows the positives and the negatives of the UX. So there were some users who were able to log in, but there was an inability to log in the local language. Then there were some users who were able to access the content, and they were also able to search the functions, but the search results were not found. And there were also some other users who faced the dynamic interactive graph for individual products, but there was no difference in the display when changed. And some were also able to save the searches. In the figure 1.7, this is a user service response metrics. So in this, we can see that the satisfactory levels were quite up to the mark when it comes to helpful navigation, and even for search functions, it was up to the mark, and it was also knowledgeable. So the test pilot run results were measured effectively in these tables with varying degree of success in each feature on which it was tested upon. The results were plotted and visualized, and the gaps were identified easily for the amending the application prototype. So now to conclude this presentation and also to have a look at what the future work is. So UX has become a vital key process in design and development in applications, especially in web-based applications and websites. Research has shown that the focus should include cultural features wherever necessary to enhance the user journey. UX is used in IoT due to tremendous development in machine learning as they are user-centric. The wearable technology is already making its mark in the day-to-day use, and legacy applications should cater to the need of such users. The future of the web application will have more haptic responses with various motion and gesture-based communication, which will help create new pathways of communicating with such devices, applications, and the UX of such applications will also evolve. Thank you very much. I hope you like the presentation.